Right, I have not done the manhunt on this character, as you can hopefully see here. If you've done it, you know what I mean by showing you this. If you haven't, I'm not going to spoil it. Although there are going to be hints at spoilers ahead if you've not done it yet. Now, sadly, I've got my salty army brain on for this one. And I am incredibly disappointed with the manhunts thus far, just because I am struggling to understand how what is meant to be the failsafe for societal collapse is so dumb. Like, it's honestly kind of hurting my soul that the Division is completely and utterly stupid, for lack of a better word. Now, I've had to do a little bit of research in this just to see what a Division agent is, and they're not actually technically military. They are civilians that are trained under military conditions, and the idea behind them is if there is a societal collapse, Division agents will have whatever skills or training they got from their civilian lives, whether it be an engineer, a stockbroker, etc., etc. But they also have certain military training to train others in order to be able to function and enforce a normalised society as we know in today. However, Black Tusk seemed to threaten this, and the part that really annoys me throughout going through these manhunts is just no one's doing anything. They're actually just bouncing off each other of who could be the bigger idiot, and it's hurting my soul. Just to show, this is Alani Kelso's biographical information. She's 31 years old. She's from, I'm assuming that's Hawaii, or I'm not sure. Occupation: paramilitary officer for the CIA. Division agent. Education and training: US Army Ranger School and SHD training. Now, despite the fact that she's very poorly written, and I know a lot of people will complain that she is utterly bloody useless, just for the fact that she's gone through Ranger School and is a paramilitary CIA operative, she's probably the most dangerous person you can have on your side. If she actually used her training, Black Tusk would be a complete non-issue. Want to know why? Because they'd all be dead. Paramilitary officers for the CIA specialise in black propaganda, which is essentially psychological warfare. Directorate operations, which basically makes them in pretty much every scenario the big bad boss. They're trained as generals, political leaders, politicians, parliamentarians. Yeah, like you name it, they could run an army or a country. They're also trained in order to operate either in small teams, singularly, and train others to do what they need while kind of not brainwashing, but close enough. If you want like a real world example of what these bastards do, Taliban. Oh, and yeah, she's just also just casually a US Army Ranger. It's one of the most hardcore friggin' units on the planet. Like, Alani Kelso, as badly as she is written, she is one badass bitch, and 10 out of 10, I'm not gonna fuck with her. So yeah, this whole Natalia Sokolov running around throwing drones at people and acting like some snide bitch on a friggin' floating fortress would probably last a week if Kelso actually did what Kelso is trained to do. And that's just like the top of the stupidity. Like, it Razorback. I'm aware, science fiction-y, very high tech, doesn't exist in real life, but lore-wise this thing is meant to have like thousands of drones that are used to find targets and neutralize them. Part of the story is Operation Iron Horse. Whether you've done it or not, it is actually part of the story. We destroy Razorback and then we just leave it sitting there. Black Tusk don't pick it back up. We don't pick it up so that we can reverse engineer it. And yeah, it just sits there. And then through the Liberty Island mission on New York, we get hit with another one, and again we just leave it sitting there. Like, it's an incredible resource that you could use to, even if you don't use it to blow people up, just to gather intelligence, scout areas before you put manpower on the ground. the level of intelligence that you could gain from having a Razorback on your side is unreal, and we just casually leave it chilling out. And then during the manhunt, spoiler alert, we get hit with another one, and it's right, they've literally hand delivered it to the White House. We don't even have to go pick it up. I guarantee they just leave it fucking sitting there. And if your argument to this is, well, maybe we couldn't reverse engineer it, maybe Black Tusk are just that technologically advanced, I give you Elon Musk. I mean, Paul Rhodes, head of tech wing at Division 1, leader of the Haven settlement in Division 2. He is a tech entrepreneur. His education is a BS electrical engineering and an MS in computer science. Yeah, like, this guy is just, yeah, he's Division's Elon Musk. He even brags about his knowledge of Isaac and how the Division doesn't actually deserve this technological advantage in the New York campaign. This guy is clearly very intelligent. Like, yeah, he could probably decode Razorback and get it singing off our song sheet rather than Black Tusk's easily, as long as he had access to one, which we have access to as of now, 3 of the fuckers, and we're still not going to use them. And I'm sorry, if this guy can make a living pretty much out of just exclusively hacking Black Tusk tech, then Rhodes can do something. I mean, this guy is he's a future trader. I don't know what that means, but in my mind that means stockbroker. He was also in the United States Navy. He hacked their Marauder drones, their Warhounds, the system he used to try and launch his Eclipse missile at New York was hacked from Black Tusk. The parts were taken from Black Tusk. Keener was essentially a one-man wrecking ball when it came to friggin' Black Tusk, and we just straight up killed him. Okay, yeah, granted, he was a bit of a douche, but I would like him to come back. I think that's like one of the top 10 fan theories is Keener's not dead. But 2, if one man is able to do that, and then we have access to a sneaky ranger trained in destabilizing countries, a tech genius who, by the sounds of it, near enough might as well created Isaac and knows how to use it fully, a National Guard signalist, so he's really good with radio signals and wiring and connecting and hacking, essentially, and then a Coast Guard search and rescue, so he knows how to find people and potentially extract them, admittedly, yes, at sea. Which leads me to my next point. These bloody things. Like, you would have to be some negative IQ fruitcake to be the big bad and hide away on one of these. The logistical nightmare that one of them actually even presents, and by the looks of it, Black Tusk there's like 3. There's one at Tidal, there's one at Coney Island, and then there's another one that they use over at Liberty Island. That's 3 of them that we know of. I'm assuming they have more. The level of fuel consumption that they would need, they can't be run off nuclear, because let's face it, after the antics that we perform in Countdown, no one here in the Division is a nuclear scientist that knows how to run a friggin' nuclear reactor. So they're 100% not friggin' nuclear. And there's no way they're going to be powered by thermal, wind, or sea. So yeah, that's out of the question, which means they're running off fuel. Petrol, gas, diesel, pick one. Yeah, that thing's gonna guzzle a country's worth in just a few days, and you're telling me that you've got more than one of them. Secondly, it's a friggin' hovercraft. Would you like to know why a lot of militaries stopped using hovercrafts? Because they work off of air pressure, and the moment that weird little bubble below your boat gets a hole in it, that air pressure disappears. Then it actually explodes out and can actually cause some serious damage to the vessel itself. And then it just sinks, because without that air pressure, they're not buoyant. They just sink. They become the Titanic, except it'll be a lot quicker, and there's no one on the bow of the ship going, "I'm the king of the world." And my final point really here is, right, we know Natalia Sokolov is on one of these. You don't need Razorback, or to hack Razorback, to find one. We know where 3 of them are. They're bloody huge. They're literally the size of an aircraft carrier. We've literally been on one as well. And aside from the mortars, these things basically have no form of tech defense other than just sheer manpower. So why are we just not launching missiles at them? Like, just like the level of stupidity here is just unreal. And then you go, oh, where are we going to get the missiles from? Well, in American History Museum, we stopped the True Sons making missiles out of museum pieces. In the Jefferson Plaza mission, we stop the True Sons as well as Lincoln Memorial from using DC-62 missiles and delivery agents, whether that be mortars, missiles, etc., etc. That's the whole premise of just Jefferson Plaza and Lincoln Memorial. They've created a delivery device for DC-62. I'm not too sure what DC-62 is. It's like green poison. But yeah, like they have delivery devices, mortars, missiles, etc., etc. And what? Do we just leave it there? Are we just leaving it there for someone else just to wander into Jefferson Plaza and go, oh, look at that, that's a nice missile, and just take it? Tidal Basin. We literally clear out the entirety of Tidal Basin camp. Manny actually says he's sending helicopters over to secure the site. We take over Tidal Basin, which means we have access to our own fucking hovercraft, as much of a logistical nightmare as it is, with our own mortar system on it, which apparently is more than capable of taking out the White House. Like, it's beyond stupid. And if you are just going to leave it there, unguarded as well, why is it that Black Tusk is coming up with some weird, wacky, elaborate plan to take out the White House, etc., etc., again by use of Razorback, when they could just, I don't know, go back to Tidal Basin and just re-plug in their mortar sites, which were able to take out the White House in the first place? Like, it's just stupidity for the sake of stupidity. Now, I'm aware a lot of people are going to be like, oh, but I like the story, etc., etc. It's utterly stupid. It is actually utterly stupid. Like, I've got a friend who is a former aircraft technician in the United States Air Force. I talk to him quite regularly. Shout out Original Silo. And I can only imagine the amount of devastation that he could cause with his level of knowledge, Isaac, and a Razorback delivered to his doorstep. He would literally become king of the country in like 3 days' time. And we have Paul Rhodes. We have Manny could bloody do it. He's a signalist in the National Guard. He could do it. I am genuinely shocked at the level of incompetence. I mean, I'm aware it's a game, but this is written in, and it's almost like the people writing this actually haven't paid attention to what people's skill sets are and what they actually should be capable of. Here's one for you. Carter Hornet LaRoe. He actually went through United States Navy as well as the Army with Keener. They were good friends, and they both joined the LMB contracting service together. Now, the LMB stands for the Last Man Battalion. Okay, it's a private military company founded and led by Charles Bliss, a highly decorated former officer of the United States Army Special Forces, comprised mostly entirely of former operatives from the Army's premier light infantry unit, the 75th Ranger Regiment, and the CIA's much-feared Special Operations Group. Are you telling me that... I mean, we don't have a backstory for our character, but the chances are we are just, I don't know, a former policeman or something, and we took out essentially Navy SEALs. We sent 2 cops, or a cop, essentially, to take out a fucking Navy SEAL. Like, I used to be in the Army, used to be infantry. I can guarantee you now, you could put 10 of me up against one Navy SEAL, I'd fucking lose. And I'm trained for that. A cop isn't. Manny's not trained for that, and he was in the Army. Like, yeah, like it's not going to happen. I kind of feel like they've written themselves into a crossroads and they've got no idea how to get across, and it's genuinely hurting my soul. Now, it is just a game, and I know a lot of people are going to like the story, and maybe I'm just reading too much into it because I am military, but when I look at the storyline of what's happened so far, and I look at the manhunt and everything else going around, and then I look at the people around me, and I'm just like, one, why is Manny in charge? Kelso should 100% be in charge. She is literally trained for it. And if you mess with her, trust me, she'll make you take a friggin' dirt nap you will never wake up from. Paul Rhodes, clearly a very intelligent guy, yet he's just sat in a random office, a janitor's office from what I can remember, in New York, doing nothing, scratching his ass. Like, dude, you could be doing so much more. All of the tech that we have available to us, and we do nothing with it. Like, it's just sat there. We have 3 Razorbacks, a friggin' aircraft carrier that is magically powered, complete with its own mortar system, and we just leave it sat there for our enemies to take. Like, hell, at one point during the story, the Outcasts are considered to be a really large threat. What if the Outcasts got to Tidal Basin? It's right by their base of operations. We see them wandering around that area quite frequently when you're running around the open world, and all they'd have to do would be to get one of their weird cuddle boys to give that a cuddle and then launch it. There we are. Problem solved. Strap a bloke to a mortar. There. There's a meat missile for you. I am genuinely not surprised there are so many more rogue agents than there are actual active agents, because screw being tied to an organisation that doesn't know its arse from its elbow creates more problems than it does solutions, and can't even utilise an advantage when it is literally dropped on their doorstep. Like, the Division has to be the most stupid organisation to ever organise in any way, shape or form. They're utterly ridiculous. They have no idea what they're doing. Like, I'm honestly surprised they've got this far. So, yeah, I'm not impressed with the manhunts, not impressed with the story. It's utterly just bewildering how ridiculous they are actually being, and yeah, I'm hoping it changes around. Maybe I've pointed a few things out that you didn't think of or realise. Maybe I'm just completely overreacting, but still, yeah, the manhunts, I'm over it. Like, I'm going to complete them, but the story of them is just fucking retarded. It is absolutely a joke. Hey, we've got this really OP operative. Oh, what does he do? Sit there, do nothing, cry. Anyway, have fun. Good luck. Don't die. It's bad for the health.